Hello and welcome to the HVAC Diaries. Today is Saturday, January 6th, and this is my HVAC vlog brought to you by New Calgon. Happy New Year, you guys! This is my first vlog of 2024, so Happy New Year to you! I hope that you guys had a really awesome holiday and that you're gearing up, ready for an excellent year ahead. Our year has started really slowly. Actually, we were a lot busier last week than we usually are between Christmas and New Year. We're usually really dead between the two holidays, and then we pick up pretty much right after New Year. But this year was totally different. This year we worked a lot last week and almost nothing this week. In fact, we picked up a bunch of filters to do some maintenance services this week. But no one returned our calls or our emails, so we think people just took an extended holiday, especially because I found out later in the week that school is still closed. This week they're only starting up next week, so hopefully we'll be back to normal next week. Although we do have snow in our forecast, we have something called the polar vortex that's coming in, and next Friday our high is -6 degrees Celsius. So if that happens, if we do get so much snow, then we will likely not go out at all, because it's just not worth the risk going out on a snowy day, risking our vehicle getting into a collision and then not being able to work for the next few weeks. Anyway, we'll take it as it comes, day by day, so we'll see. So last week we spent a day at that office building in North Vancouver with all of those water source heat pump units that we replaced over the last little while. They didn't get rid of those units. We offered to get rid of them for them, but they were like, no, we'll just collect them and then we'll take them all together. So they ended up having 11 of these units just sitting there, like in various storage rooms. All these water source heat pump units, there's 11 in total. We are here to recover refrigerant if there's any in here and salvage some of the parts for scrap and spare. And then these guys are going off to metal recycling. So what we did was we recovered all the refrigerant out of any of them that had refrigerant in them. Some of them had refrigerant leaks that couldn't be repaired, so they didn't have any refrigerant in them. But the ones that had, we removed all the refrigerant, we recovered it all. We dismantled the units, so we recovered some transformers, some relays, some fan motors, some control boards. And if we were going to be doing the disposal of these units, we probably will dismantle them even further. We would take out the copper and the coils and the compressors, and we get a bit more money that way than if you just take the whole unit as a complete unit. But anyway, it's not our scrap to get rid of, so whoever gets rid of it can do what they wish with it. But now we have some spare parts for their other units. And we've actually already used one, so it worked out pretty well. Last week we also finished up at the Pilates Studio that we've just been spending so much time at. We installed that 5th thermostat. So they had 5 units but only 4 thermostats, and we found one of the thermostat cables just kind of like snaked in the ceiling and down behind a mirror, in the wall behind a mirror, just to nothing. So we installed a thermostat for that unit. I got a kind of a pretty interesting camera angle. I don't know, I was trying some stuff out. And working on the units in that little studio, man, they're just so awkward. They've got duct lines right in the way and the water lines, and just like trying to work. I found the easiest way to work around the duct. I'm like basically hugging the duct as I'm doing my thing. Anyway. My dad also told me about the Climate Master and Daikin McQuay units. So they're both water source heat pump units, and they kind of look identical to me. They both do the same thing. They're just have a different layout and a configuration or whatever. But when you install a thermostat for a Climate Master heat pump, you have to program the thermostat as a heat pump, which makes sense. But then the Daikin McQuay units, which are identical to the Climate Masters, they've got something in their little control board that makes you have to program the thermostat as a conventional system, not a heat pump system. What? Why? Why can't they just be the same? Also, in that Pilates Studio, they had one of their units just covered in drywall dust. I guess they were running the unit while they were doing the construction or something. I don't know. Anyway, it was covered in dust. And just so awkward the way I had to clean it, where it was located. The unit was located right beside a built-in like shelving system. So I couldn't go from the one side because there's built-in shelves on that side. So I literally had to go from like beneath the unit and contort my body so that I can get around and brush it off, which I did. And then, of course, every content creator's nightmare. I went to actually spray the unit. I went to spray the coil with some new Calgon evaporator spray. It's like a foaming spray that'll clean the coil properly. So when I went to press record, I actually pressed stop recording. So I got none of that footage. So now that unit finally has a thermostat to control it properly and it's now working, it's actually too big for the space that it's in. So like I said, they've got 5 units for their area, and their units, they do various rooms. There's one 3-ton system, which is kind of large, for one single room. So when we fired it up, it turned into a sauna in there in like 5 minutes. It was crazy. It was just too much heat going into that one room. And then in the reception area just outside, they've got this tiny little like 1-ton unit that they've drywalled like right to the unit. So every time the unit starts, it rattles because the compressor vibrates and it causes this sound. And they're like, we can't hear our clients on the telephone. So what we did was we turned off that unit completely because it's so little. We turned it off, and then we added a grill, a diffuser, from the ducting that was coming from that other room with that 3-ton system. We added a duct so that we could pull heat from that room and pull it into the reception area. It is so much better. Perfect. Beautiful. So Trev had the daunting task of cutting out the duct. And I say daunting because like you only get one shot. Once you've made that cut into the metal, it's done. And we don't work very much with ducting. Luckily, it's something that we don't love doing, and we're not good at it because we don't work with it a lot. But Trev did such a good job. He drilled 4 pilot holes, and then he used the tin snips really carefully, snipped a nice, careful, straight rectangle out, and then we put our diffuser in. It looked beautiful. Well, I think it looks beautiful. It will look more beautiful once they've had it painted so it matches the rest of their duct. And finally in that space, they've got one unit that is absolutely inaccessible. It's located in their changing room, right inside their one shower. And well, here. Okay, so we're in this Pilates studio. There is a unit right in there. It's actually right here. This panel allows the maintenance guy to change the filter, but there's absolutely no way to be able to reach the electrical panel because here's the back of the unit. The electrical panel is at that wall and there's a wall there. There's no way you can access that electrical panel because there's a wall there. Why would people do this? This unit is not working and we cannot even service it right now. So yeah, they've got that one panel for the filter access and then the other panel for the back access, which really doesn't give you access to anything at all. And so the maintenance guy there, he's like, well, what if we just cut away some more of the filter access panel? And we're like, that's fine and well, but you can't even get a screwdriver in there to take the panel off. You can't even get, like, you could get your hand in there. There's about this much space between the panel and the wall. So you can't even get a screwdriver in there to get the screws out. And even if you did, if you used one of those little tiny stumpy screwdrivers, you can't get your head in there. You can't see what's going on. So I don't know what they're gonna do. They're probably gonna have to relocate that unit because it's literally right up against the wall. This week I did spend a bit of time on my computer doing some year-end accounting stuff. So our fiscal year end ends on September 30th. And so for the next couple of months after that, just as like bank statements and stuff like that come trickling in, I hand all of my year-end accounting stuff to the accountant. They do whatever they have to do with it, and they send back our financial statements for the year and our trial balance and some adjusting journal entries to account for like amortization and just some cleanup stuff. So I admit, last year I just procrastinated so long. I finally sat down to do my adjusting journal entries in March. So embarrassing. And by then I had forgotten kind of what we had talked about and stuff like that. And then I was embarrassed to like go back to the accountant and be like, so it's March now and I'm finally getting to those transactions. So I just didn't. I just like was like, oh, it'll fix itself. So this year I sat down this week and I got all of those adjusting journal entries done now, so they're already done and I don't have to worry about them. I don't know why I procrastinated it so much last year. And with my quiet time this week, did some stuff at home as well. I got some chicken broth made. I love drinking chicken broth in wintertime. Cheers. Oh, salty and delicious. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. In summer, I'll still make it because I use it for my husband's soups every week, and I'll use it for cooking and stuff. But in wintertime, I have to almost make it on a weekly basis because I love drinking it. It is so delicious and good for you. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for you this week on the HVAC Diaries HVAC vlog. I'm so glad to be back for another year. I'm so excited for what's coming up, as I told you last week. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the HVAC Diaries, and I will see you guys next week. Bye! So anyway, we'll take it days at